Carrington, and this is the Magic Box. Hello, welcome to the Magic Box, and today we have a special show for you. It's about toys. Ha! I love toys because they make so much fun, and they are so exciting. And we're going to share about toys. Don't go anywhere. This is the Magic Box, and our subject is toys. We'll be right back. Welcome to the Magic Box. John Carrington here as always, and I'm always looking for fascinating things. There's something fascinating about a story. Oh, you want to know what the ending is. Oh, you'd like to know who the characters are. Oh, you wonder how you can fit it into your life. Well, here's something that's really interesting. This right here is called the Astrospheres. Astrospheres. I think if you go back through the history of this particular toy being developed, you'll find that somewhere the person who invented this experienced something called yo-yo, the astrosphere. These three little balls, if they work together, can create the effect of a yo-yo. And you can do all sorts of really wild and crazy tricks with this. And I'm having fun right now just relearning how to work this thing. Astrospheres. Look at that. It's almost like the planets revolving around the universe. It's like little stars coming into contact with me and circling around my hand and making all sorts of fancy movements as if they are a part of some big gravitational system, a solar system, a system of planets, a system of comets, a system of meteors, all working together to create a new universe, a universe that's not hindered by sight and sound, but a universe of the imagination, a universe involved with a yo-yo. So this is a toy that could bring a lot of creativity and imagination to the owner. It's called Astrosphere, and it's one of those toys that came out during the summers of 1960 and 70. I'm having fun, and I know you're having fun because you're watching The Magic Box. We'll be right back. This is John Carrington, and we're back with the Magic Box. And on the Magic Box, we try to inspire you not just to dream, to think, but also to read. Sometimes we read stories that excite us and say, hey, I need to do some follow-up on that. In fact, there's a story we're going to share today about the creator and dinosaurs. And dinosaurs were just a toy to the creator in this story. And the creator promised to go back and maybe do something later on with those toys that he put away. Well, I have some toys that I've put away. As a magician for over 35 years, I've had an opportunity to work with all sorts of really wild and crazy contraptions. And here's one of my favorite toys. And I promised myself I'd pick it up again someday. Oh, here it is. Oh, right there. This is called the Gravity-Tron. And I like this because it's almost like a yo-yo on a train rail. Ever heard that old saying, a train wreck about to happen? Well, this was a fascinating toy that I ran across. I said, I gotta have one of those. And I use it in what I call my yo-yo show. The yo-yo show is a show that allows me to take all the contraptions that derived from the toy called a yo-yo. And those contraptions look so similar to a yo-yo, you almost have to say, is that a yo-yo on a rail? Is that a yo-yo with magnets? is that something that came out of the fact that somebody invented the yo-yo. Well, this was a toy that I picked up, I played with, and I put it away. This is a toy that came from Mexico. At the time, it was called the Babalup. It seemed like when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, every summer they came out with a wild and crazy new toy that all the kids just had to have. Well, there came the Rubik's Cube, there came the hula hoop, and then something called the Babalup. Watch this, the Babalup. The object is to take this block of wood and make it land on this peg. There's a little hole in the bottom of the Babalup. And it was said that the Mexican children played with these all day, and they became quite good at it. Well, let's see what happens with the Babalup. Babalup, 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 Babalup. Whoops, I missed. I didn't win. Babalup, Babalup, Babalup. Oop, I missed. I didn't win. Babalup, Babalup, Babalup. Ooh! So the Babalup contest was a chance for boys and girls to compete in getting the block of wood to land on the peg. So there would be 5 youngsters in a circle, and the referee would say, go. And then the first one to get the Babalup to land on the wooden peg would win. Ooh. 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 Ta-da! Finally done. And as you can see, after 30 years of practice, I'm still not an expert. But that's the challenge of a toy. You learn how to work it, you enjoy it, you put it down, come back to it later on, and you're still having fun. The Babalup. Now, this toy is politically incorrect. This piece of wood weighs about a half a pound. And this is a peg. And my goodness, you could hurt yourself really badly with this. So it's not the kind of toy that the politically correct would purchase in the years after 1970. We'll be right back with more of the Magic Box.
Winnie the Pooh was born in 1923, the brainchild of A.A. Milne, who based the book on his little boy, Christopher Robin. The characters in the book were based on Christopher Robin's own collection of toys. There was Tigger the Tiger and Gloomy Eeyore, and of course the bear, Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh was illustrated by E.H. Shepard. Shepard and Milne created the fictional 100 Acre Wood of the Pooh stories derived from 500 Acre Wood in Ashdown Forest in East Essex, southeast England, where the Pooh stories were set. Winnie the Pooh was first published in 1926, followed by The House at Pooh Corner. The Winnie the Pooh series has gone on as a favorite for young children for many, many years. You too will be a Pooh Bear collector soon.
Hi, welcome to the Magic Box, and I'm holding in my hands 2 yo-yos. The copyrights on these are very similar, but the effect is much, much different for each one. This is a yo-yo that contains some batteries and some neon lights. And this is a yo-yo that contains a battery and some light-emitting diode lights. Well, let's see what happens here. Yo-yo. A simple wooden toy with a string attached to it. But oh boy, what can imagination and creativity do to make it unique and original? Let's take a look. This is a fun yo-yo because it not only goes up and down, but it has batteries and lights. Sound effects. Imagination. The most powerful nation in the world is imagination. If you take something very simple, give it enough thought, and then work with it, you too can create something a little different, maybe even totally new from the original. Now, that's one version of a yo-yo with batteries, lights, and sound. Here's another product created by somebody totally different. Let's see what happens here. We're talking yo-yo, a simple toy from the 60s and 70s that allowed you to be creative. Whoa! Oh, that's a light show all by itself, isn't it? Whoa! The yo-yo. And like I always tell audiences that I work with, learn to read, read to learn. Use your brain to help you gain. The more you know, the more you grow. The more you learn, the more you earn. Don't be a yo-yo. This is John Carrington with the Magic Box. We'll be right back with more. Here we are with the Magic Box, and it's story time. That's right. Here's a story from the book Dragons in Things. The title of this story is Toys. Toys. They are fun. Let's find out what happens with these toys. One day, the good Lord decided to take a stroll in the Garden of Paradise. It was a most splendid day for a walk, and many good souls were out. As he went along his way, he came upon an old man wandering along by himself. "Hello," said the good Lord in a jovial tone. "Nice day." The old man was taken by surprise, and realizing who it was that addressed him, he was stunned into speechlessness. Said the good Lord, clearing his throat. "Nice day for a walk," he repeated. "Oh, yes, indeed it is," the old man finally blurted out, regaining his composure a little. Lovely day, indeed for a walk." So they began strolling along together. They walked and talked of many exciting things. The stars, the skies, the planets, especially Earth. Suddenly, the old man came to a stop. "What is it?" asked the good Lord. "Well," said the old man, hesitating, "there's just one thing I've always wondered about." "What was that?" asked the good Lord. "Well," said the old man slowly, "dinosaurs." "What in heaven's name was that all about?" "Oh," chuckled the good Lord, "that's when I was very young and just starting out. They were great fun, even if they weren't very sensible. But boy, what times I had with them. Oh, of course, as I matured, I had to put them away." "Put them away?" inquired the old man. "Saving them. I'll take them out and look at them. I'm saving them. Saving them? Asked the old man. His eyes as big as two of the moons of Jupiter. Oh, yes. Oh, my, yes, said the good Lord. Someday, when all my children have come home, I'll take them out and have a great big show in the throne room. I want all my children to enjoy them. They always seem so fascinated by the stories from archaeologists have passed down about them. Wow! That will be some show, said the old man. I can hardly wait to see it. Well, it's nice to have things to pass down to one's children, said the good Lord, longingly and lovingly. I know what you mean, said the old man. I had something like that when I was a boy. A box of tin soldiers. Great fun, too. I'd line them up and play for hours. Of course, when I grew up, I also put them away in a box. I kept them in my grandfather's trunk. Then, when my son came along, he brought them out and he would put them in our Christmas garden every year. I had hoped to pass them on down to my grandchildren and my grandsons and my great-grandsons. And what happened? Asked the good Lord. Did you misplace them? Oh no, explained the old man. It was when I came here that it happened. I left them to my son. My son's wife sold them to a collector of tin soldiers. They are quite valuable on earth, and you know, they bring a good price. What? Shouted the good Lord in such a terrible voice that the old man became very nervous. She sold them? Oh, she got a good price for them, said the old man, and they probably needed the money. Well, it will never be worth what they're going to cost her. It will never be worth what they're going to cost her. Said the good Lord, and he went thundering off down the road with the old man trying desperately to keep up behind him. He went straight to the throne room and threw open the door. Wham! All within froze at the intrusion. The old man was by now quite bewildered. Still, he could not resist taking the time to glance around. The throne room was his next favorite spot after the garden. It was an enormous place with a huge stage in the center. This was surrounded by rows and rows of thrones and chairs, and you never knew who you might meet there. All the names of the good Lord's children were etched on gold plates on the backs of each chair. You could walk around and see the names of those coming in the future and so arrange to be there and greet them when they arrived. You could also meet those people who had led interesting and unique lives and sometimes have a chat with them. The old man remembered fondly the first time he had accidentally bumped into the great Mr. Einstein. He was accompanied by none other than Socrates himself. They had inquired of the old man how the weather was. He would never forget eavesdropping in on the most interesting conversation. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Dr. Carl Jung, had a long debate on the theories of psychic deductions. Most especially, though, would be always remember his favorite personality, Will Rogers. He and Will had talked for hours and hours. So it was no wonder that the old man became sidetracked and began to dawdle behind the good Lord. It was also no wonder that every eye became riveted upon the two of them. The good Lord stormed down the row of beautiful thrones. These particular ones had inlaid with precious stones and jasper and onyx and numerous pearls. All the thrones were either made of gold or silver or brass. Some very special ones were carved entirely out of ivory. The old man recognized his own right away. He also recognized his wife's, his sons, and his daughter-in-laws who had not yet arrived. The good Lord reached down to the throne of the son's wife and tore off the nameplate in his hand. He then went thundering down the aisles of the thrones till he came to a section of not too impressive brass ones. These were not inlaid at all, and it was very difficult to see the stage from them. The good Lord leaned down towards one and nailed the nameplate on it. "No," said the good Lord in a loud booming voice that echoed all around the throne room. "It will never be worth what it has cost her." The old man finally caught up with the good Lord. "Tell me," he said, quite out of breath and nonetheless curious, "what exactly has it cost her anyway?" "Why," said the good Lord with a twinkle in his eye, "one of the best seats in the house." The end. Oh, toys. As a child growing up, I remember some of my favorite toys. In the age that I grew up, there were toys that were typical of children, but nowadays they are politically incorrect. My favorite toy was a set of little toy pistols with 2 holsters, and I got that for Christmas one year. And I thought it was so much fun to play cowboys and Indians. Well, of course, politically correctness was not known in the years 1950 to 1960. So to play with toy pistols was something that most children did, but nowadays it would be an offensive toy to some people. But I remember enjoying those toys. It gave me a chance to use my imagination. I also was outside running up and down the field, hiding behind trees, playing hide and seek, tag. What a wonderful childhood memory of a set of little toy pistols in leather holsters with fake little trinkets in gold and silver on it. And to me, that was one of the best toys ever a child could have in the years 1950 through 1960. Today, we read a book about toys, but guess what? I wrote a book that's a fun toy too. It's called Calculator Magic Made Easy.
No chains could hold him. No jail could imprison him.
Houdini created a Superman. There's nothing that can confine Houdini. There's no clever jailer. There is no policeman. There's no clever box builder that can create something that Houdini can't defeat.
Magician, aviator, actor, author, the most famous escape artist who ever lived, star of stage and screen.
I think it's hard to imagine how big a star Houdini was and what he contributed to even the notion of celebrity in America.
Here's one of my favorites. Houdini was a great magician, but he was challenged one day to do a challenge that could end up drowning him or setting him loose. He would be placed in one steel box. So if you have your calculator in your hand, press 1. That steel box will be wrapped in 16 feet of chain. So press 1, 6. That box will be lowered into 69 feet of water. So press 6, 9. Houdini will be facing the unknown. That's called the X factor. The unknown. Oh, it's also the symbol for multiplication. So press X right now. On the calculator you have at home, press X. Houdini has 3 minutes to drown or get loose. 3 minutes to drown or get loose. Well, let's enter 3. Press the number 3. Will Houdini drown or get loose? Well, to find out the answer, you press equal. So press equal. And now turn your calculator upside down, just like I'm doing here. And lo and behold, those numbers become letters and they spell the word loose. Houdini gets loose. I said, wow, that is a fascinating magic trick. And I said, well, what else can I learn? So over 20 years, I did research on various old math tricks, old tricks that were in books, tricks that were used with pen and paper, and I accumulated 81 tricks that you can do with a pocket calculator. I put those tricks in this book, Calculator Magic Made Easy. Hey, wasn't that a wonderful, wonderful toy story? Yes, it was, because toys are everybody's favorite thing. And you know something? If you have the right toy, it'll keep you out of trouble and it'll help you to break the monotony. So, until next time, don't toy with that dial. Keep it locked right here for the magic box. Bye-bye!